Hi, so this is a video about Alternator. If you don't know who that is, let me just tell you a bit about them. Alternator is a person you'll find spewing advice in every Payday Steam discussion. He'll also comment on people's profiles and then delete the comments after they respond. He has alts in my Discord server and constantly searches to see who's talking about him. He made yet another alt to pretend to not be himself to defend himself in my server. He blocks anyone and everyone who could criticize him. He makes builds that look like this, gives advice that looks like this, has uploaded this gem of a video, and is somehow the victim in every situation. Since apparently I'm the one responsible for all his troubles, I figured I'd make this just a quick PSA. So listen close, Carrot Army, these words come directly from the General. You don't need to downvote Alternator's guides, nor try to reason with Alternator in discussions. What you should do, if you're ever in the Payday Steam discussions, is just correct him, explain why he's wrong, and move on. Alternator will stubbornly defend whatever idea he thinks is true with what he thinks is evidence, so it's not worth trying to explain anything to him. Just hope that the author of the thread is a reasonable person and will read through the comments and understand that Alternator has no idea what he's talking about, and if not, well, it is what it is. Okay, now go my minions, disperse. And Alternator, because I know you're watching this, you've clearly shown you can't stop thinking about me. Hi. Isn't it time to grow up? Don't you think you're too old for this? You talk about how everyone is an elitist and is harassing you, but maybe you should open your eyes to reality. All anyone does is make fun of your crazy person behavior in my Discord server, which they wouldn't even do if you didn't try and make yourself mysterious and spooky. And then you'll go out of your way to read these jokes and talk about how everyone is harassing you and comment on their profiles, or send them messages and block them. From everyone else's perspective, you're the one going out harassing people. I literally wouldn't have made this video if you didn't decide to suddenly pull that stunt in my Discord server recently. If you really wanted people to stop talking about you, grow up. Learn to let go. Stop constantly searching for the things people say about you. Stop talking about how experienced you are when giving your awful advice. Stop talking about build optimization when you don't know anything about build making. All of the elitists you claim are attacking you are simply trying to get you to stop spreading misinformation. To which I know your response. You're just stating your opinions, right? But it doesn't work that way. You seem to think that your opinions are worth the same as someone else's facts. There are objective things in this game, and you either don't understand that, or are actively obfuscating it. When you present your bad builds, that's fine, but you should say that they're far from optimal, rather than defending how good they are because you have 3,000 hours and are testing and optimizing. I give people suboptimal builds too, but here's the difference. In all of my 5 build videos and bi-weekly builds, I present how you could potentially choose to play something, and I explicitly tell the audience which builds represent an interesting but suboptimal way to play. These builds are, of course, optimized, but they're not optimal. Here's what I think you really need to hear, even though I know you won't listen. Your testing and optimizing doesn't mean anything, because you don't know what testing and optimizing means. An experienced build maker can look at a build and understand how the elements come together. So your whole, I'm not an elitist because I give the builds a fair try and then optimize them, doesn't mean anything. I don't need to see this and then have to play with it to understand that what you've made is worse than what you started with. You're not a very good player, but no one is blaming you for that. Most people are bad at the game, and that's okay. Out of my entire library, I'd only call myself good at 3 games. You just need to stop pretending to be the great genius who is fighting against elitists day and night, and have some humility. Just be yourself and no one would have any complaints for you. But let's talk a little more about building. Why are your testing and optimizing meaningless? Like I mentioned, you don't really understand what either of these mean, and I can explain why using your legendary builds as examples. What does optimizing mean? Optimizing is ironing out small errors, trimming the fat, making something as good as it can be. But what do? You just build how you want. That's fine, seriously, no complaints there. But stop claiming that it's optimized. You claim your builds are optimized when there's blatant misuse of points. You claim your builds are the best when there's not a single sniper, akimbo, SMG, or commando build. And you claim your builds are quirky, but the only quirk is that they're put together badly. I mean, even your stealth build has mistakes. Honestly, I feel bad for anyone who might stumble across this guide and think it's remotely useful, but it's not exactly helpful to just say the guide sucks and nothing else, so I'll walk you through how to start improving it. Your very first build on the guide is a Kingpin rifle build where you've taken Stockholm Syndrome aced, dumped 2 points into shotgun damage that gives no breakpoints, and built this atrocious oppressor tree which fails at everything. Let's actually optimize this together. First, remove this Stockholm Syndrome and just ace Joker. Stockholm Syndrome is a terrible skill because it's genuinely worthless unless you've already gone into custody, which is something that won't happen if your build is good. Converts are already strong, and making them better at killing will make them hold their own against enemies better, which will defend you better. We can drop the 2 pointless skill points and shotgun damage, but keep the reload speed if you so choose. Now we can repair this pointless tree and ace body expertise. At the damage bracket of the Tempest, it'll take 4 shots to headshot kill a heavy, 10 shots to the body with basic expertise, and 6 shots to the body with aced. It doesn't seem like that much of a difference, but let's talk about crits. This is going to be very simplified, but I just want to give you an idea of why your tree was built so poorly. With 30% crit chance, you can expect 1 of 3 shots to crit. So let's say that the expected damage per shot is 2 times the regular damage plus the crit damage divided by 3. This would mean that on headshot, the expected damage is about 400, killing heavies in 3 shots. Shooting the body will have an expected damage about 110 or 9 shots. If you have body expertise basic, you expect roughly 175 damage or 6 shots, and if you have body expertise aced, you expect roughly 305 damage or 4 shots. This means that body expertise aced is almost as good as straight up headshots, and body expertise basic is in the middle of headshots and literally nothing. The only use case for body expertise basic is if you hit a major breakpoint, which here you just don't. But you might be thinking about other skills you lost out on. Heavy impact is one of the most useless skills in the game. There's no real point talking about it. But what about fire control? 20 accuracy is a big deal, especially when your accuracy is not great. Well, you can get it if you so choose. Just remove Scavenger Aced. You're killing enemies so much more efficiently now that you just don't need it. And with your last skill point, hell, you could even drop Stable Shot and get a second convert. Hopefully there's no need to talk about how much of a dramatic jump in strength a second convert will give you. This is how you optimize a build. You take a look at what is doing what, and where you can improve things. Remove the excess, invest in actual benefits. People know what these actual benefits are through testing, so why is your testing insufficient? When you test something, there needs to be consistency. Payday is not a consistent game, and you are not a consistent player. A good player may be able to perform consistently, and the testing could be more accurate, but a worse player will be less consistent. You may perform well with a bad build, or poorly with a good build. Confidence intervals exist for this reason. They ask, how much do you trust that this data reflects reality? This is why your, well, I played it and had better stats is meaningless. Here's a lobby I played where I blew everyone's stats out of the water and it wasn't even close. So that means my build is better, right? Well, obviously not. An Yzma Kingpin build will never beat Hacker Akimbo SMG builds. Stats just don't tell you much. Were these guys in custody all game? Did I even do any objectives, or did I sit by spawn points? And your testing with bots instead of players doesn't fix this issue. Here is me playing Deathwish Heat Street with the same build, but on one, I have shotguns to work with my shotgun skills, and on the other, I have a rifle and an SMG with those same pointless shotgun skills. Now guess which one of these end stats is which. Even though the build that performed quote-unquote significantly better is the one with the wrong weapons, would you recommend this one because the stats were better? Both of these builds won the map, but on one I just let the Akron bot do its thing, and on the other I shot at spawns before the bot could. Genuinely, who cares about these stats? Hunting for kills is pointless, and it's something that a lot of less experienced players don't understand. You just don't need more than like 15 kpm to beat every map in the game, and that's the upper limit for some fringe maps. If your build does that, you've passed the killing threshold. A build that does 25 isn't necessarily better. Your Heat Street video that you were so proud of that you put first in your build guide is even worse, because you compared this to a different map, Slaughterhouse. Different maps have different scripted spawns, different spawn points, different objectives. This testing just doesn't mean anything. Believe it or not, I'm not trying to bully you. I want the experience of new players to be as good as possible. It's why I made guides. It's why I admonish misinformation, intentional or not. Whether you understand you're misleading players and doing it anyway, or you don't know that you are, this is the reason that you get into fights with people. On one hand, you stubbornly advance your bad advice, and on the other hand, you talk about how hard death sentence is, even though you have thousands of hours. No, dude, you're shooting yourself in the foot by refusing to listen to anyone, and shooting others in the foot who don't know any better and choose to follow your advice or builds. There's no shame in learning from someone who's better than you, trust me. I've learned so much from other players. From small things like how to play Kingpin more efficiently from Semper, to large things like breaking the mold of standard builds and being creative from Pronka. And it's not like I'm God's gift to Payday either. If you wanted to, you could start your own Fixing Carrot builds videos, and go through some of my earlier work. I ask people for help to this day. There's nothing wrong with it. You don't have to back yourself into a corner and start swinging wildly. You can just admit to not knowing things. I often answer and help people who send me DMs, so feel free to send me a message. I'm always happy to chat about the game, and happy to help anyone who wants to improve. And I'm not the only one. If you stopped approaching everyone who plays better than you with an attitude that they're elitist and you shouldn't listen to them, anyone would be willing to help you. I've said it many times before, but the actual death sentence community is very welcoming and helpful to all. Approach them in good faith and they'll reflect it back to you.